this is Jersey. You're watching The Garden State.
You're listening to The Garden State, the only New Jersey podcast that gives you all the news you need to hear this week. My name is Josh Sobo.
My name is Josh Chomik.
And this week, filling in for Jimmy Parks, none other than...
You're watching The Garden State.
Our boy Eric Pretzel. Eric, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Wow.
Look at that voice change.
So people have asked us many times, who's the voice? Who's the guy behind the voice? And it's our friend Eric. And we thought Jimmy had to work this week. He couldn't make it. We'll have
Someone's got to make the money
week.
around here.
So filling in for Jimmy is Eric Pretzel. And Eric, the story actually goes back. You want to give a little backstory, Josh? On what actually took place to build this podcast?
Yeah, well, so many people, first off, when we posted an Instagram story of Eric doing that, everyone's like, I thought it was a grandma the whole time.
Yeah, a lot of people have to come to me and be like, why do you have a grandma voice? And I'm like, that's not a grandma. It's supposed to be Joe Pesci. So when we started the Garden State podcast, when we had the idea for it, I said to Chomik, I think that we could build a Okay, so this was the psychology behind it. I was like, at that point in time, the really big videos were the Bing Bong, Side Talk New York City videos. And I thought it was so interesting that at the end of every video, or at the beginning of every video, it went Bing Bong. And I was like, there's something addicting. Like, it's almost like they're Pavloving you into watching their videos in a way. That's how I felt, at least. So I said, if we make these videos about New Jersey, we need to end with a quick hit every single time of something that people can remember.
Yeah.
So I said, like, an Italian sounding voice saying, you're listening to the Garden State, or this is Jersey, or something like that. So you guys came together.
Yeah, so I went over Eric's house one day before we even started the podcast. I brought the recorder over. We sat in Eric's room for 15 minutes. I hit the record button. I said, Eric, go to town. Because Eric is just a genius. If you guys don't know Eric, he is he can do everything. Eric is like a superhero. He's amazing. But he's also an amazing voice actor, even though he doesn't even do that. So he gave me 5 different accents saying, you're listening to the Garden State. 15 minutes worth of footage I had to cut down to one, and we found the perfect one. But Eric, you want to give us a little example of what you got?
Well, actually, the voice originated in a video on Instagram with a character named Palermo.
Yes, it did.
Wait,
And he was talking to Frankie.
So the story goes back. We started. We were making a full-length movie about a character I created called Uncle Frankie. But it goes back even further than that, Eric, because we were at a Mets game and you started yelling out in that voice. I think that was before Uncle Frankie. Maybe?
I think that was before Uncle Frankie, yeah.
But we were making a full-length movie about a Jersey Italian guy played by me. I'm not even Italian. It was cultural appropriation.
You killed the part. You just crushed it.
There might be a little Italian in me. I'm not really sure. But then Eric comes along, and he's Palermo, and we were kind of this tag team duo. And the movie never got released. Actually,
it's in the works.
You did make a trailer of it that you played at my bachelor party, which is a great...
We should put it on the Instagram one of these days to show. Yeah, at Josh's bachelor party, we did a whole screening in the movie room of this Airbnb of the Uncle Frankie trailer. It was hilarious.
Great.
As somebody with Italian heritage,
yes,
I have to say, Joshua Sobo, you did a great job.
Thanks, man.
You did really good. You take a few buttons off the top of this guy's shirt. All of a sudden, he's from Italy.
What's your second favorite accent?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I like when you do an old man voice. That's what we're gonna record our voicemail for our.
Do you remember the cab driver?
Yeah.
Give us the cab driver.
Well, so what? Can I give context to the cab driver?
We played that clip on the podcast.
Did we?
Yeah, dude. I remember we talked about this, and I played a section of that.
Did you?
Maybe
I don't remember that.
10 episodes ago. Yeah.
In college, for those that don't know, we're rambling before we get into the podcast tape. But in college, I like to do this thing where we make radio drama podcast kind of things, me and Josh. And basically the idea was I would tell a story and play all the characters' voices, and then we'd add sound effects, and it'd be a really stupid 7-minute long story, kind of like a radio drama. And then one night Eric and I did one where I was a mob boss trying to make a hit, and he was my cab driver driving me around the city.
I showed my dad this clip. It was about 30 minutes long or something like that. He was dying. He was rolling on his car seat. It was amazing.
Did you really show your dad that?
Yeah, he loved it. He loved it.
Eric, you are a man of a million talents. One of my favorite Eric stories really quickly was he used to be a flight attendant. And he said that when, like the flight attendant, they go over all the rules before the flight. He said every flight, to keep himself entertained, he would change his accent.
The people I was working with didn't know who was calling out the announcements.
That's amazing. Didn't you say, by the way, another side note, when you became a flight attendant, when you'd bring new people on the planes, like to haze them, you guys would put dry ice in the toilet? Is that true?
Yeah, so if you put dry ice in the toilet with like some hot water or something, it looks like it's bubbling up or something. It looks like clouds, and used to bring the new guys in there and tell them that it was the clouds actually coming through the toilet seat, because when you flush, it goes out into the air.
Who believes that?
So, I mean...
I think to like enter into this podcast today, Eric, can you just give us like a 10-second like airplane, like we're about to take off,
do you remember
message to launch us into this episode?
It's been a while, but funny, when I was getting interviewed for my new job, I got, like, when I got hired, I was late. I was late to the meeting where I had to be like all dressed up. I think I was just in like khakis and a polo, and they made me do the entire presentation in front of everybody else that I was going to be working with and all my bosses. It was embarrassing.
So you still got it in you, or
they still bring it up. No, I don't remember the lines right now.
Well, I'm happy that Eric's with us this week. He's a great fill-in for Jimmy, and we have an amazing episode lined up here today.
Very, very amazing episode.
But before we get into the news, we got to talk about the mailbag.
Oh, yeah.
Do we want to get into the mailbag, or you want to give the other announcement before we get into the mailbag?
We could do the announcement first, then mailbag, because the mailbag kind of ties into the story.
Awesome. So for those wondering, if you're watching us on YouTube or on Instagram, well, this part won't be on Instagram or anything.
We should put it on Instagram for an announcement.
Yeah, if you're watching us, we have new merch coming out.
Hello.
And I'm wearing a shirt for the listeners right now that says Central Jersey exists.
Because it does.
And we also have another shirt coming out that says Central Jersey doesn't exist because, hey, there's this story about Michael Jordan. I don't know if you ever heard this.
No.
He was criticized because he wouldn't take a political stand in like the 90s. When he was really, they wanted him to make a political statement. And when he was asked, why don't you make a political statement, he said, because Republicans will buy my shoes too. The whole point was he was like about the money. He wasn't making a stance. And
money's
you know
what
what
it's about.
For us too, man, whether you believe it or not, in Central Jersey, we got a shirt for you on thegardenstate.com.
We know it's like a 50-50 split here in the state. So we want to make merch for everyone.
Absolutely. So we have a few new items coming out. We have a Central Jersey Exists shirt, a Central Jersey Doesn't Exist shirt, and the shirt Josh is wearing says the Garden State Spotted Lanternfly Extermination Club. Do you want to flip around and show them the back of it?
I'll just put a clip.
Okay,
because
awesome.
it's going to be out of focus, yeah.
And then we also have possibly another item that I think will be ready in time for Sunday, but we'll have to see. We'll find out tomorrow. So we have a few items coming out. The drop is going to be at 3 o'clock on Sunday. Thank you to everybody that has bought our merch. I feel like the store just keeps expanding and expanding, and it's been really fun to ship out these orders. We just placed a massive order to restock all of our inventory, and it's exciting. Good stuff is happening.
Yeah, so if you were looking for a hoodie or a classic t-shirt or a university tee, diner tee, whatever, all the sizes will be restocked in the store Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Get there quick, guys, because honestly, you guys are blowing us away. Like these orders come in so quickly. I'm like, who are these people buying our merch? But like, you guys are just incredible. Thank you for supporting the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
They go quick.
Yeah, free shipping on all orders. And that's, the other thing is, if you order a shirt for a podcast, like say you listen to Barstool Sports or one of these big companies that does merch as well, you're going to get a t-shirt that's going to be on some Gildan lightweight junky, no offense to Barstool, but it's not going to be the highest, the high quality. We pride ourselves and we're trying to make really nice stuff. The hoodies are so soft, and I don't know if I wear it every day because it's my thing or if I wear it every day because it's just so soft, but I love our hoodies.
Yo, we have enough merch now where like every day of the week I have a different piece of clothing.
Yeah.
So all I do is wear my own merch. It's amazing.
It's been fun. So with that, we just want to give you that quick announcement. Now let's get into the mailbag.
Do we want to just tell them what the mailbag is if they don't know?
Oh, yeah. So the mailbag's a new segment that we've created where we take calls from you guys, and they're not really calls. You just record a voice note and email to hello@thegardenstate.com if you have a question, a comment, anything for us that you want us to talk about. And then every week, usually at the end of our episode, we review it. But this week, we moved it to the front of the episode because we think a lot of you don't even know we're doing it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. We've been getting some voicemails, which is great.
Yep.
But I want everyone to be involved within the mailbag. We're going to be doing this every single week. Just a reminder, keep your messages 60-second max.
Yes.
Include a question, a concern, a comment. I don't know. We want it to be controversial. We want it to be spicy. Just give us your best Jersey opinion in the mailbag, and we'll try to respond the best we can.
Excellent. Let's get into it right now. Hey, you've reached the Garden State Podcast. Sorry we can't get to the phone right now. We are currently in Governor Phil Murphy's office trying to convince him to legally make it Taylor ham. Leave us a message. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thanks. Have a great day.
Hello. I'm submitting an anonymous tip to your podcast. I'm not going to say who I am, but I shared the news story about that haunted Westfield house that inspired a new Netflix series with my coworker because he grew up in Westfield. And he told me that the townies, mostly, they think that that's not true. Like the whole story, the whole like letter thing. The kind of consensus amongst the town, amongst his neighbors, think that it was totally fake and the family couldn't afford to buy the house or keep living in the house, keep up with the mortgage. So they devised this whole plan to make it look haunted and start a lawsuit. So that's what I wanted to share today.
Wow.
Very interesting.
Very anonymous.
Mysterious.
Mysterious.
Yes. And growing up in Union County, just right near Westfield, I have to say, I did hear theories about this, that the homeowners were writing the letters to themselves. And
it's so easy. It's so easy for them to do that.
Because
there's no trails of evidence, so like it could have been them the whole time.
But who did? What I don't get is they wanted to sue the previous homeowner, saying, "Hey, you didn't disclose this when we bought the house from you, that you were getting these creepy letters," or who would be? They wanted to get out of the mortgage, or like I don't understand.
Or maybe
fully.
just publicity, make a whole like stunt out of it.
But I don't get that, because that's bad publicity for your own property that you're gonna have to. It's like your biggest asset you have.
That's true,
and it's gonna depreciate the value, right?
But this person said what, like a lot of people in town all like think this is a fake stunt.
It's so weird, because I don't know what I would do if I was in that situation where I started receiving these creepy letters, especially about my own kids, where it's talking about them, or it's referring to them as young blood. And
well, nowadays, if you were, it's easy because we have social media and phones to document it.
Yeah.
I guess when did that actually happen to the homeowners? What
2013, I believe it was, or 2014.
Oh, okay. So we had social media already.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I feel like why didn't that blow up back then? Like, why didn't we hear about it back then?
I heard a lot about it. I remember hearing about it.
So like, did they take photos of the notes or anything like that?
I drove past the house when it all was going down.
Like, were there photos circulating about it online?
I think so. I think there were in like the local papers, Star Ledger and stuff. But it was also something that they reported to the police. So it was verified that it happened, you know?
But how did the police know it was like true?
Well, they didn't. But like, I don't know what the motive of the family would have been. Like, I guess a lawsuit could, like this caller is saying, could have made sense. I don't know. But it kind of leads into our first story of the night.
So wait, you think it actually happened or didn't?
I think it happened. My own theory is, so there are a lot of crazy people in the world. We, I think, assume the best of others, and we assume everybody is just like us. Not to say we're not a little crazy. We're all a little crazy. But like, we assume everybody's just like, has good intentions. There's a lot of really messed up people out there.
Oh, yeah. After reading Jersey News, yeah.
And I have to say, I almost bought a house 2 weeks ago. And when you get invested in a house, when you fall in love with a house, which I started to catch some feelings for a house recently, and it was a bad situation. And Tony Soprano. And it was just a bad situation I was getting really into it, and then it just didn't work out. I decided not to put the offer in, and then I started having second thoughts. And it was the type of thing where I was invested in it. And I could imagine a house like this, a beautiful dream home in the most perfect part of Westfield. Someone thinks they're going to get it, and they get outbid. You might, if you're crazy, you might go, hey, I want to mess with these people a little bit. I want to get them out so I could buy it.
Like, I always think about it, man. It would have been so fun being the guy pranking the people, sending the notes.
Okay.
How it's dark, it's messed up. I would never do it, but like, it would be hilarious to see the headlines and like people freaking out, even if you weren't going to do anything.
Think about it on paper, not pun intended there, but think about it on paper. Some guy wrote 3 letters, creepy letters with some weird terroristic kind of sounding stuff on them. But he wrote 3 letters, and the result is a Netflix show.
That's
He didn't like show up and like put a dead animal on their porch. He didn't. It was just like could have been a high school student for all we know.
Yeah.
Like it could have been anybody. And I think the most probable scenario, in my opinion, is someone got beat out for the house and they wanted the people to move out and they wanted to buy it themselves. That's personal theory, but I don't know.
Listen, if I got some notes like that coming to my apartment or like my future house one day, I'd be out immediately. Like, would you stay?
Yeah, I'd stay.
You would stay?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I feel confident in my ability to dismantle a home threat.
It's kind of freaky. Like, you don't know who's behind the letter. That's the scary part.
Yeah, but like
if you knew it was a high schooler,
like-
it'd be like fine, but like who knows? Like what kind of maniac is behind that trying to kill you and your family?
I don't know. I think I'd get like a Ring doorbell and get like 3 Ring cameras around my house. I would lock the doors. It would be creepy though, because even if you're like, yeah, this is just some maniac, and like let's say I go on a business trip and my wife is home with my children, that freaks me out.
Exactly. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, you can't deal with that crap. I don't know. I would
think-
move out.
I think I would somehow plan a sting operation to catch this person. I would figure it out.
Well, you would Kevin McAllister it, set up just a whole trap around your house. Could do that.
Yeah, the letters were oddly specific too, like about.
I gotta watch the
details
show.
of
Like,
home.
I haven't watched the show, so like I don't know any of the details.
And actually, our first story of the night is about this whole situation. So let's get into the news. Here's what it says: in Westfield, New Jersey, the Watcher House is now causing issues for the locals.
Well, dude, it's the biggest show on Netflix. Like, what do they expect?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like,
Bro.
whoever owns the house, why would you allow Netflix to make a show about your house?
Well,
Right around Halloween too, when people are like really into the creepiness.
dude, yeah. Well, in the show, they shot a different house, right? It wasn't the actual house.
Yeah, it was-
But like
I think it was-
people are researching the house now and going to it.
Yeah, it was filmed in Long Island. It wasn't the real house, and but now as a result, because it says based on a true story, right? So now people are going to go. I want to go see the actual house.
Taking photos and walking onto the property.
So it says a popular new Netflix show has prompted a steady stream of visitors to this normally quiet neighborhood. The Watcher, inspired by a real-life situation involving a family that owned the house on 657 Boulevard, debuted on the streaming service last week. As of Wednesday, police caution tape was put out around the property's perimeter. Several Facebook posts mentioned that there was a number of cars lined up outside the house, as
Wow.
well as people were coming from all over New Jersey to take photos. So,
Like, what did you expect?
well, here's the other thing: is they've immortalized this house. They've like immortalized it into a Halloween destination that every year. Okay, like here's my thing: like around certain times of the year, you want to go see certain landmarks.
Yeah.
And Halloween is when people get into all this spooky stuff, and they're like, "I want to go check out that creepy house with the letters."
Of course,
it's an
dude.
now it's an urban legend. That's
It's
what I'm getting.
pretty
at.
sick.
It's been immortalized.
Like, do you think they contacted the current owners of the house saying, "Hey, we're doing this show"? Like, did they have to get their permission somehow?
Okay.
Or no? Because
I don't think you'd have to.
no, because they're not filming the house.
They didn't film the house. I think they might have used the right house number, 657 Boulevard.
Yeah.
But the thing with that is like there's a million 657 Boulevards in America, I bet. So like,
But they know it's from Westfield.
yeah, that's true. So I don't know, but I don't know if legally you're not allowed to make a story about someone's address.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I should look into that, but
Like who owns the rights to that story? I guess it would be whoever wants to own the rights. It's just something that it's a public event, right?
yeah. And now that house is going to be, people are going to be coming to that house every single Halloween now.
Yeah, does it become like a weird New Jersey stop now?
Yes, that's my point. I think absolutely in 20 years, in the same way now, growing up, we knew about the Devil's Tree, we knew about Clinton Road, like all these Jersey spots, the Jersey Devil, these places where people would go, and we drove to some of those in high school. I think now it's going to be a spot where high school kids for the next 20 years come visit.
It's awesome.
On like mischief night.
As long as you're not like terrorizing the house and like walking onto the property, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's just like, what, these people are going to have caution tape up on their house for the rest of the year?
I will say this area of Westfield's so nice too that like
Yeah, pull it up on the map.
I would be kind of bummed if I owned like $1 million house on the street.
I got to
and
drive by. I still haven't seen it in person.
It's not, from my memory of the last time I drove by, it is like kind of a side street, but you also I think can pass through to get to Route 22.
Where's North Ave? Oh, North Ave's right there.
North Ave's right there. Wait a
Oh,
second.
cool. And train stations. Oh, it's right near the train station.
Wait a second. Oh, for some reason I thought it was north of North Ave. I thought it was over in the section by 22.
Oh, no. That's
It's
cool.
south. I don't remember. I drove past it.
Bro,
and
that's like 5
it's-
minutes from where I live right now. That's so close. Wow.
It's a really like beautiful little street.
That's gorgeous.
Westfield's so gorgeous, man. But
Josh, do you remember on our road trip to New Mexico when we went to the Breaking Bad house?
yes.
So if you've ever seen the show Breaking Bad, they actually filmed it on location at a house in New Mexico. And I'm a huge fan of the show. Josh was a huge fan of the show at the time. When we did our road trip across the country, we stopped at the Breaking Bad house, and the lady who owns the house, she just sits outside and just curses people out for walking near her house.
I don't get why she bought the house. That's the thing I don't get is I mean, when we went by, she was nice. She gave us like rock candy.
Well, she was
and
like, "Don't tell anyone you were here," or like, "Don't post about this."
Yeah, she was really nice to us. But I've seen a lot of TikToks of that same lady snapping at people.
It's like a snapping turtle.
I mean, yeah.
Did she own the house while it was being filmed?
I don't know.
Or she bought it after?
I'd have to assume she
think-
bought it after.
I don't know because wasn't she telling us stories about like them filming there, and that's why she has the rock candy.
Oh, maybe because I did ask her, has anyone ever thrown a pizza on your roof? And she's like, yeah, it's happened a lot of times.
Yeah,
Which is
she
really
sounded
fun.
so over it.
So I don't know. Like I think that people are free to do whatever they want. You know, this was already in pop culture. Like it was in the news. This wasn't just like a Star Ledger story. When this happened, this was like in the Times. This was all over.
It's probably the neighbors are just upset because the whole like neighborhood's getting crowded now with cars pulling
Yeah.
up. People are stopping, causing traffic jams.
The other interesting thing is the show apparently loops in the John List murders.
Isn't that a completely separate story though?
Yeah, but Westfield has so much interesting history. For those that don't know, John List was a FBI #1. They created the FBI Most Wanted list, I believe, and the first year it came out, he was #1 on the list because he murdered his 2 kids, his wife, and his mother-in-law in his house in Westfield. So Westfield has it's like the most beautiful, probably safest town ever, right? But at the same time, it has some interesting history.
Also, it's been in a couple movies, right? A couple movie sets.
Westfield?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, the Addams Family house from the show is based on a house in Westfield.
do people go visit that one?
Yeah, I believe it's still a house you could drive past. I mean, it's a super, when you think of I never even watched the Addams Family.
Me neither.
But I know what the Addams Family house looks like. And I think the house still looks pretty much exactly like
So
that.
wait, the actual house from the Addams Family is in Westfield?
Yeah, so the guy that wrote the Addams Family, I believe, grew up in Westfield.
No, the house is in Westfield right now.
Well, Addams Family house, Westfield. It might look a little different now. Let me see. Yeah, there it is.
That's sick.
Yeah, there's the house.
You've seen that before you drove by?
Yeah, I know exactly
Wow.
where it is. Yeah.
Eric, what were you telling us about the Home Alone house becoming a museum?
I think I lied about that.
Wait, so someone actually lives there?
Yeah, from what I looked up, it's just a normal family that lives there, and they have it so that you can't go past the gate in the front to.
Okay,
But
so
it gets people every single day.
But
they
like,
said.
I thought about that because Josh, you were saying how people like to visit locations on a certain time of the year, and that's
Yeah.
where we want to go visit.
So we've talked about, me and Josh have I was going to say a tradition, then I was going to say I was going to
Bro-dition?
combine it with bro-dition, where we watch Home Alone every year, and we've done it for like 8 years straight.
Home Alone 2, 1 and 2.
1 and 2, yeah. We do 1, and then we try to hit 2. And I thought, when I have a kid, this is going to be an awesome tradition, because I can't wait to have like a son, and like imagine showing your kid for the first time Home Alone. Like that's
Magical.
It's going to be awesome. So because you get to experience everything again for the first time.
Hopefully, Uncle Josh gets the invite over.
Yeah, you can come over.
Thanks.
I mean, hopefully you have, some kids as well.
Maybe. Who knows?
But but so the Home Alone house, the disappointing thing about that is they didn't actually film in the house. Did you know that?
yeah, it was all on set, which kind of like killed it for me.
But
But the outside's so pretty, so who cares?
we have said every year, like, let's just take the drive to Chicago and check it out. Just as
What
a
is it? Only
Christmas.
like 13 hours from here, which is not
Probably,
crazy.
Yeah, 12, 13.
Right to Chicago. We've drove to Chicago before.
Yeah, it's like 12 hours, I think.
It's so easy. But yeah, we've never done it because
So-
I guess the timing. But we want to go there.
So what do you guys think about this? Do you think it's messed up that this house is now immortalized as a Halloween destination? I think it was bound to happen. I don't know the ins and outs of behind the scenes of were the citizens of Westfield aware it was going to happen? I doubt they got to vote on it. It just
At
happened.
least it's Halloween season, so the caution tape kind of looks like Halloween decorations.
That's what I thought. Well, we'll see what happens in Westfield. I don't know. I think it's a non-issue. It'll blow over come November 1st when Halloween passes. So
I don't know. If the show's that big now, you think it's just Halloween hype?
But the thing is, shows blow over. Like, people watch a new show every week. The show will be popular for a month. Then we'll forget about it, and there'll be another thing to talk about.
Unless, like you guys said, it becomes another Jersey urban legend.
Which is, that's definitely going to happen now.
Yeah, it just won't be as crazy. So
I
they're
think
fine. They're fine. These people.
I don't know. So nobody was murdered there or anything. It was just letters. I think it's going to blow over, and everybody will move on from it. Moving on to our next story. A bill has been introduced to make Central Jersey an actual recognized section of the state.
It's actually happening. Central Jersey exists.
It exists. And we've made shirts to prove it. TheGardenState.com. Get yours today.
His shirt says it. Like, it's official. The bill is being passed.
Dude, if it's on a t-shirt, it means it's legitimate.
We also have a shirt that says it doesn't exist.
Yeah, well, we have to hit both
Yeah,
markets.
we have to tell everyone.
So, a new bill introduced in the state legislature would formally define Central Jersey as Hunterdon, Mercer, Middlesex, and Somerset counties, which I was on board with them until they said this.
Union County's not on Central Jersey?
Well, so Union County, that's going to annoy people, but I think Union County, the western to southern side, is the northern edge of Central Jersey.
Wow.
Like, Elizabeth isn't Central Jersey, in my opinion. But if you're in Garwood, or if you're in, I don't know, Scotch Plains, that's like, you're reaching the end of Central Jersey.
Can you pull up the map? Do they have like a drawing of it so I can just visually see what this is? Because like I can't think about all these counties at once in my head. This is absurd. Wow.
Yeah, so if you see, it cuts. I agree with the map for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at the map they have, I like it. I just don't like that it cuts in around Union County. I think that point should go just straight across.
From Somerset County, like straight, like more.
Yeah, it should
parallel.
just go straight across to, like, I don't know, Union. I feel like Union's the edge. Union, you're like, here's my theory. When you're going Parkway North, right?
Yeah.
When you get to the toll plaza in Union, you've left Central Jersey. You're officially in North Jersey.
It's the perfect marker. Yes.
I think east of that also is kind of North, because the thing about Elizabeth being central feels weird to me. Would you guys agree with that?
Because Elizabeth is kind of along that, is before that break.
It is, but I would say cut the line a little south of Elizabeth. Like, maybe it goes.
I would just keep it simple.
Like,
just include them.
Roselle's the edge, and then Elizabeth.
I don't know,
is where
Eric.
it
You
ends.
grew up in Elizabeth. What do you think?
Well, what is the point? What benefits do they have of Central Jersey versus North and South?
So you could tell people I'm from Central Jersey.
No. Well, that's part of it, and we sell T-shirts, so there is a benefit for us of selling more T-shirts. But the other benefit is that the bill is actually going to help them get tourism funds, because Central.
Shut up.
This is where
That's so
this is where
stupid.
the state gets me excited for stuff, then it loses me so quick. It says new legislation introduced this week says it not only exists, it formally defines Central Jersey into 4 counties mentioned earlier. Assemblyman Roy Freeman is a sponsor of the bill, which would require the state to promote tourism there and allocating funding. So there you go.
So it's a money grab.
Yeah, it's not about the pride of being a part of the state. It's not about the debate that we all love to have. It's about money going into the
It's
counties.
all about the money, bro.
Which, let's be honest, what tourism is there in Somerset County? Like the Patriots?
Somerset Patriots. Yeah, I guess that's it.
I mean, no offense, I like Somerset County.
There might be some
I was there today.
historical elements in there, but like, yeah, for the most part, you got some nice state parks around there, but still.
Is Princeton in Mercer County?
Probably. We should know this.
Princeton is in Mercer, yeah. So I guess Princeton, technically, you could say there's some level of tourism there. There's a big university, Middlesex, but I just don't see that being like the selling point for me. Like, hey, we need to make it a real thing so we can get some tourism going. And like, people are going to show up if they're going to show up.
We need to make it a real thing to just squash the debate. People are going to have always been debating if Central Jersey exists or not. And guess what? It does. Because look at the map. It's centered. It's perfectly centered in Jersey.
But is there anything else besides like the actual boundaries that you think should separate North, South, and Central? Like the way people talk or
No.
the landscape or anything else?
Not so much, no.
I mean,
We all kind of talk the same here.
well, hold on. So South Jersey is definitely its own thing. If you go down to the Pine Barrens, it's a different culture for sure. I don't know that I would say like if we're going to talk about like cultural boundaries, like, oh, there's like the Taylor ham pork roll thing, easy divider between north and south, right? But you could be in central and you could be in the middle there. So I guess I get the point you're making. Like there isn't like a clear element that makes it a different place. Is that what you're kind of saying?
Right. Well, I also wanted to know, like, with that designation, like, what do they get extra out of it? But where would you designate between central and south?
Central, I like the line they have.
Because we all go down the shore.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
go down the shore, right? But when does it become South Jersey?
The Driscoll Bridge.
So I think
the big bridge on the Parkway.
I think that big bridge is a good line, but it has to cut south immediately.
Yeah.
Like the map they have is great because the line, it's not like a straight line going west. It's a line that goes way south all the way down to the southern edge of Mercer County. I think that's perfect. The reason this irks me is people go, "Where are you from?" I say, "Oh, I'm from Central Jersey. I'm like 18 miles west of Manhattan." I always say, I never said North Jersey. I don't see myself.
Me neither.
I don't identify as a North Jersey resident.
Me neither, bro. I've always been Central Jersey, born and raised.
If someone said what part of Jersey, I mean, you're easier because, you know, the section you're from you're so close to the city that it's pretty identifiable.
So growing up, I mean, I'm in a huge city. Like, there's uptown, downtown, and midtown. It's big enough to have like its own designations and very clear landscape differences and all different nationalities like kind of segregate themselves throughout the city. But like there could be a Portuguese section. There could be, there's where there's the synagogues. That could be where the, different religious groups are going. Synagogues and temples. And
So is Elizabeth North or Central Jersey?
it's north. But I have an even hotter take.
Okay.
What do you feel about West Jersey?
It's beautiful.
It's a thing.
At what point west? Like, if you're going to designate north, south, and central, when you go west, I don't consider any of that to be central at all. So what does your map say for that? Like out west, 78.
Well, it depends on where it's lying. After Huntington County up north, like that's going to be North Jersey.
I think if you want to give West its own little shot, I think if you are within 20 miles of the Delaware, you're West Jersey.
Oh, did you see that one map someone made? They split it instead of like north, central, south. It was like east. It's just strictly West and East Jersey.
I like that. I could roll with that because if you think about the culture between West and East is going to be crazier almost than North and South, it feels like. East is the shore and New York.
Yeah, but then like people all the way in Cape May are going to be the same as us. Like, oh, we're East Jersey.
That's true. I guess you're right. Good point. Well, I don't know. I think regardless of what happens here, because they are promoting a bill, it says this is what I read before. It says we promote the destination marketing organizations that are in Central Jersey. So we think we already are doing it. If we want to put it in writing, that's fine, Vassar said. So that was the response to Roy Freeman pushing for funding for tourism for Central Jersey.
I don't care about this whole money grab situation. Like, I don't want to make this more into tourism, bro. I just want it to be stated in writing that Central Jersey exists. I'm a believer.
Okay. Well, I think it's going to happen. I think you're going to see your day in court.
But then all the non-believers are going to like go crazy.
Maybe, but this is life.
And they'll still consider it not real. They're not going to care about a bill.
Listen, man, a wise man once said, if you want to make an omelet, you got to you got to crack a couple eggs. And that's what's happening. We're in the midst of making a beautiful Central Jersey omelet, and some eggs are going to have to get cracked. So let's move on to our next story.
Dude, I'm so hot. I didn't eat dinner. So like, I would love some eggs right now, bro.
Okay, this morning we tried to make healthy pancakes, and there's a recipe. You just mix bananas and eggs.
That's it.
That's literally it. I put a little vanilla extract and just like a little dash of it because I was like, flavor. And I'll tell you what, you mash it, you mix it. The mixture ends up looking just like pancake batter.
Yeah.
It was great. It was like a banana bread pancake.
So the texture like felt like banana bread?
It texture-wise pretty similar to a pancake. Flavor was just like banana bread.
So you would do this again?
I'm going to do it tomorrow again. I'm going to try to make it better because I couldn't get the consistency just right.
So it's just an egg and what else?
The mixture is literally for every egg you put a banana. So I don't know if that gets less bananas as you go along, but we did 2 bananas, 2 eggs, and made a fair bit, to go with our
Dude,
breakfast.
I just did food shopping yesterday. I got a ton of bananas and a ton of eggs.
Take one egg,
Yeah.
one banana, mash them, just mix it all together.
Okay.
And then put a lot
No
of butter.
water, no milk added, nothing.
No, nothing. Some people put
Wow.
oats in because then it gives it more texture. Shelb was saying we could put some flour in, but I feel like that defeats the purpose. So
everyone listening, you got an assignment this week. Go try these healthy pancakes out.
yeah, it's a little challenging to get them right, but I believe they can do it.
Cool.
So in Metro Park, New Jersey, developers are looking to completely redesign the areas surrounding the train station.
First off, is Metro Park an actual town? Or is that Edison?
I think that whole area,
Or is that a part of West, like Edison? You know how there's like different like towns within a town?
yeah, the whole area of Metro Park, and then you go into Woodbridge. It just is such a confusing area of New Jersey because there's towns within towns.
Yeah.
I'd imagine Metro Park is a town, but let's confirm this because
Just
I'm
Google
not.
it, Metro Park, New Jersey. I just thought it was the train station.
Yeah, it's just the train station.
Train station in Woodbridge, New
It's
Jersey.
in Eslin. No, it's
Yeah.
not. Well, it's in Islin, which is in Woodbridge.
Yes.
So
So wow, that's Woodbridge.
Metro Park Station. I guess Metro Park. It sounds like that's
Metro Park,
It's
yeah.
a Metro Park. Yeah. But for some reason, I thought Metro Park was like the surrounding area around it, a town. But that's
Well, based off what they want to build, they're pretty much turning it into a town at this point.
yeah. And this is I'm telling you what, man. Every week we read about more and more development, and the Murph
It's
is
disgusting.
It says Governor Murphy has unveiled plans. He unveiled plans last
Last week
in
for Hoboken.
And then where was the last spot? Up by Garden State Plaza Mall.
Yeah.
So Governor Murphy has unveiled plans for a mixed-use development project at the NJ Transit Metro Park Station, straddling the borders of Woodbridge and Edison.
Bro, I'm sick of the term mixed use. I'm here every week.
Mixed use, for those listening, if you don't read the news, mixed use is the state's language for, hey, we're putting apartments in and maybe some commercial spaces as well.
It's mixed.
It's a mixed use space. It's going to be for everybody, but really the goal is let's get 500 more apartments in an area that's already overcrowded. Standing under a tent in the rail station parking lot, the governor said what we must do is modernize the original vision of Metro Park from a place where central New Jerseyans, he just said central New Jerseyans, by the way,
He believes.
can drive their cars to a place where central Jerseyans can ditch their cars altogether and live within walking distance of their jobs, or alternatively hop on a train and go to work. Okay, let's talk about this for a second. No one is ditching their car.
Well, I think what he means, correct me if I'm wrong, that area is so crowded. Like that train station is a madhouse in the morning, right?
Yeah, it is. But what I think he's implying, hey, we could create a situation where you live here and you don't need a car because you could just get on the train and go to work.
Yeah.
You could walk to work and you live here. There's shopping areas.
Yeah.
I think that's what he's implying. If ditch your car, that's what it means to me. I don't think he means like, hey, just ditch your car for your commute.
No, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, he wants to make that into a whole destination there itself. Like you get off the train, there's your community.
And the reality is, if you want to ditch your car, you move to Manhattan or Brooklyn, or Jersey City or Hoboken.
Mm-hmm.
You're not ditching your car in Islin, New
Yeah, like
Jersey.
how are you gonna get to Menlo Park Mall? How are you gonna get to like the nearby towns? Like just Uber everywhere? No, you're gonna have to still have a car.
It says, what was built to be the quintessential suburban commuter park and ride must now be reimagined to be the quintessential example of a smart transit-oriented development, Murphy said. This is what's happening is, he just said it in that sentence. He said this was designed to be a cute little area where in a suburban community, you could go home to your house, get on your train and go to the city. This is the vision for this state. And he's saying it outright, is we're going to reimagine. So Murphy lives in a big house, but you're going to live in an apartment and you're not going to have a car. You're just going to take a train to work. That's the vision for the state of New Jersey. In my opinion, they're doing it everywhere. Every town in North to Central Jersey is being overdeveloped with apartments. I'm done with Union County. I've lived here my whole life. I'm getting out. I'm going to Morris County. I'm going to Hunterdon County. Maybe somewhere out in Somerset County. I cannot be in this area anymore with the overpopulation. And you want to cram, they don't say how many apartments it would be, but it's going to be a lot of apartments. And I just feel like the other thing is these apartments aren't even affordable.
It's so
Like you got
stupid.
millions of not millions, but thousands of apartments going in. They're all $3,000 a month for a one bedroom. Like the middle class just doesn't exist anymore.
What I'm so confused about is you see all these apartments going up, bro, they sell out immediately. So
Yeah.
do people are people completely opposite of what you want? Like, do people just want to live in a luxury apartment where they don't have to worry about all their they could get everything taken care of by a landlord instead of.
I don't think you're
house.
right about them selling out immediately.
Oh, you think a lot of them are empty?
I was talking to someone recently, and they were talking about development. They grew up in, I believe they were saying Brooklyn/Queens area, and they're in their 60s, and they were saying this happened in New York for a while. They put like luxury apartments in areas where there was a hope that people would flood in, and I mean, for sure, people are moving into these buildings. They wouldn't still be building them if they weren't. But I think that, I think for young professionals, it's great. It's great until you're like 33.
Well, people just don't want to do anything. Some people are just like, I work all day in the city. I'm so tired. I want to come back to my apartment and not worry about a thing. I don't want to cut my lawn.
Yeah, but you don't have a kid. You don't have or I should say kids.
People do that. Dude, so many of my coworkers, when I lived in New York City, that's the life they live. They love the apartment.
Yeah, but that's why
life.
you live in New York City is what I'm saying.
But some people might just be like, I want to get out of the city and do that in Jersey. And that's why these things are selling.
I guess. I think a part of it is that the cost of living in New Jersey for a house with property taxes and mortgage. I mean, the interest rates, we can't really, that's not determined by New Jersey, but the cost of buying a house, which was an obtainable thing maybe 2 generations ago, where you could work at a factory on a single income and afford a little Cape Cod 3-bedroom house. That used to be a reality for people. Now we're at a point where it's such a stretch for a lot of people. You got to make so much money that they're like, oh, you know what? I'll pay the $2,500 or the $3,000 a month because I don't want to have to worry about upkeep and property. But I don't know. I don't think nobody's being forced into an apartment. That you are right on that part. Mm-hmm. Nobody's being forced to move into an apartment.
People are choosing that life.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe it is a good thing for someone. I think the state should, for the good of local citizens, find a way to make the state more affordable so that people could not have to drive past 1 million apartment buildings in their suburban little towns.
Dude, I want to know, because we talk about this every single week on the podcast. If you're listening right now, what do you think? Are you on our side, with this whole apartment situation? Would you rather live in an apartment than a home? Let us know. Send us a DM, shoot us an email, because we read all of your opinions, and we'd love to know, because I wonder if everyone's split on this.
I don't mind either. I live in an apartment right now, right? I would love to own a house one day. I've talked about it on the podcast. I think my wife, before we got married, she lived in an apartment in Manhattan. If you're going to live in the city, you got to live in an apartment. Who could afford a brownstone in Manhattan?
Yeah, can imagine.
But it's I think there's benefits to both for sure. I like being a renter right now. But my point is, New Jersey has this beautiful diversity of, you can go to Jersey City, you can go to Hoboken, you can take a train to the city, and you're in the most amazing, urban areas our country has. But also, you could take a 45-minute train ride and be out away from the noise. And I just feel like we don't have the infrastructure to handle what we're doing right now. I drive through a lot of these little towns, any of these towns, at 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock on a weekday, in Union County, in Bergen County, and what you're going to see is just gridlock. It's like craziness.
It's getting worse.
Stressed. I'm like, why am I living here? It's just so stressful. And I don't know what the solution is, because there's a shortage of houses. I don't know if they can build more houses, right? I don't know if they can, if there's even a solution there. And I know I sound ignorant with this. I just feel like all I ever hear in the news is more apartments, reimagining the
every highway you drive on, you just see Vermella, just built, taking up a whole entire plot, apartments going up right next to the highway.
And I don't that's not the reality I want. That's not my dream vision for a reality for my life. My dream vision is I have a house with a backyard.
And that's what's so sad about Jersey. It's just becoming that. That's why you got to go to West Jersey, though. Like you said, there's hope in West Jersey.
West Jersey. I'm going to live up by High Point.
There you go.
And I'm just going to have a little farm up there. People tell me I sound like an old man.
There's still room in Jersey. You just have to get out of this central Jersey gridlock. Which,
I guess.
Bro, in 10 years, there's going to be apartments everywhere.
It's just going to be, they're going to knock down houses to build apartment. It's going to become a city.
They want it to become a city. If Murphy wants it, he's going to get it.
I was driving through Garwood the other day, and Garwood was an old school blue collar industrial town with factories, and they're knocking out all the factories and they're putting up 3 different apartment buildings at the same time. And I drove through and I was like, this used to be a quiet little working class.
Now you got these towering buildings in downtown. It's crazy, bro.
It's really crazy. They're trying to make it look like, I don't know, it's turned into a little city. So This whole area of Jersey is going to look a lot different in 20 years, I think. And maybe we just have to accept the times are changing.
Yeah.
And it's time to move to Chester.
Let's go.
Moving on. Next story. I don't know. I always feel insecure after I go on rants about Jersey because I'm like, am I saying too much? Like, are people?
Well, that's
like,
why, I asked them. I asked the listeners. I was like, "What do you guys think? Are you in disagreement with us? Do you think we're crazy? I want to know what the people listening are thinking."
Eric Pretzel, what do you think about the apartments going up everywhere in this area?
You've been very quiet.
Yeah, I mean it's a mixed. It could either go one of two ways. Or it could either stay really good, or it could go really bad, just based on who moves in and how it operates. It's hard for policing. It's hard for a city's manpower to keep up with all of the additional people that they have to take care of. Elizabeth's train station's costing however many $1 million that they're putting into it. They're redoing the whole thing, trying to make it another really main hub, which it already is, but making it nicer. And they're putting up apartment complexes every block. Every block has, a couple hundred apartments.
Wow. And that's a good point. I mean, forget even just, when I say infrastructure, I'm talking about the roads and stuff, but think about a town like Cranford or a town like Garwood, or maybe mainly Cranford, it's prone to flooding. And you have to think, is a town like that capable of handling all the changing infrastructure for even just draining water? You think about they're going to have to change the landscape to build apartments.
Crazy.
And I don't know. I think it's interesting. I don't know. We'd have to ask Governor Murphy himself. I don't know the answer to it, but let's move on to the next story. I don't want to beat a dead horse. In Camden County, New Jersey, Nalox boxes are being installed in schools.
Josh, tell us about this Nalox box, please, for people who don't know what that is.
So a Nalox box is a box that would house, I guess, a substance similar to Narcan, or maybe it even is Narcan. And the idea would be there's so many people overdosing that in the schools they're going to have access to these boxes that'll basically, to put it in the words of Eric, it's going to bring people back to life when they OD.
And we're talking middle schoolers, right? We're talking teenagers, young, right?
Yeah, I mean, the example they gave is in Camden County last year, a 12-year-old overdosed on fentanyl. And there were 300 people that overdosed in Camden last year on opioids and other drugs. So
they want to put these boxes in the school. So if kids are ODing in a school, they could just bring them back to life.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, it says the medication will be stored in what is called a Nalox box, a secure metal box that holds 4 doses of naloxone. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, that's right.
And looks like an automatic emergency defibrillator box. Each school will be responsible for monitoring usage, expiration, and elimination. So the idea is they're trying to fight this opioid epidemic. My brain gets negative when I read this for obvious reasons, but I think...
number one, yes, if someone is ODing, this could definitely just break it up, bring them back to life.
Absolutely.
But also, does it just encourage people to just keep, using?
I don't think so. I don't see it that way. I mean, I would like to hear other people's... I don't think it encourages it, but I also... And I think if this is an epidemic we're dealing with, then you got to... Regardless, if someone's not in the right state of mind, they're an addict, and they can't understand, I might die, then yeah, we got to do our best to stop that situation, especially if they're 12 years old. But at the same time, I think it's a red flag of a part of our society collapsing.
It just breaks my heart that we're talking 10, 11, 12-year-olds ODing.
Yeah.
What?
We got a lot of flack when we talked about the colored fentanyl pills that are being sold now back, because that was the thing that came to Jersey. We talked about that 3 months ago, and everyone was like, drug dealers aren't trying to get this in the hands of kids. They're not going to give it out.
No, and kids are doing that
for sure. They might not be giving it out, but kids for sure are also dealing with these issues.
Yeah, dude.
In these areas. So
I think this is great. I mean, there's obviously already a problem if a 12-year-old is getting exposed to fentanyl somehow. This is not one of the what's the right word for it? Enabling. I don't think this is an enabling thing.
I didn't see it that way either.
This is more of a life-saving, just like you said, as a defibrillator. It's not
that's true.
That means, hey, people are going to go out and eat Big Macs because they know that there's a there's a defibrillator
That's
nearby.
a good way to put it.
I don't think people are. It's not for the person. The person can't give themselves Narcan, or they wouldn't be. Mm-hmm. It's for whoever's there trying to save their life.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think it's a good thing that we have. I see both sides of it. I think it's a great thing that we're gonna have access to it, because if you could save a kid's life, save their life. My point is more just like, it's sad that we're at this point where we have to put this in a school.
It's wild.
Like, what has happened to our country where like kids in school are overdosing?
So yeah, like where does that problem stem from? Like how do we tackle that?
Oh, man.
That's a big question. I'm not expecting an answer, but I'm just mentioning it.
Well, there's a lot of people that don't agree with the needle programs too. Mm-hmm. You know, they say that, oh, well, you're just giving them clean needles. You're giving them no reason to stop. I think this is different. This is more of the life-saving effort, just like the defibrillator. Mm-hmm. But it's not for that person. Like it's not saying like somebody's going to take fentanyl and then like recreation and then just come off of it just by taking Narcan. This is actually somebody's basically dead on the floor.
Can you explain to the listeners how Narcan works, like really quickly?
An opiate attaches to certain receptors in your brain, and what Narcan does is it turns off those receptors, so it basically shuts off your high.
And people, when they receive Narcan, immediately snap out of being high, right? It's like night and day.
Yeah, it's not like an adrenaline. It's not like morphine or something. It's not like some other things that you would receive. It's literally just turning off the receptors in your brain. So usually when they wake up, they feel like hungover or.
Interesting. Wow. Well, I mean, there's a quote here. It says, "We've been working to address the opioid epidemic for the better part of a decade, providing tools and resources for our community. This is now the next step in the journey to combat the evolving fentanyl issue that is appearing in a variety of recreational narcotics," said Commissioner Director Louis Capelli Jr. I mean, like, it is what it is, man. It's going to happen, and if it's going to save lives, so be it.
Yeah, place them in more places.
I love it. I think they do sell Narcan in CVS and
Really?
Walgreens.
I didn't know that.
People can buy it themselves.
Really?
And I think as prevalent as it is, especially like for
how does it work? Like,
well, for people that don't use like very regularly heroin or whatever opiates, even 3 grains of fentanyl for somebody who doesn't have any sort of tolerance is fatal.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Then wait, how does the Narcan work? Like, what is it? You're inhaling, or
it's a spray. You just spray it up their nose.
Oh, instantly they
it's
just pop out.
Yeah, it's a syringe. Well, sometimes it takes a couple minutes, but when they wake up, it's like literally seeing a dead person come back to life.
Wow.
That's good.
All right, now on to a little bit of lighter news.
Transition.
Yeah, this is some good news. Good news for all of our tourists. The crown on the Statue of Liberty is officially being reopened for tourism.
Wait, what if we want to go? Are we tourists?
You could be a tourist for a day and go visit the crown.
Have you ever seen the Statue of Liberty?
I've never been to the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, because I've lived here forever. Like, why am I going to go to the Statue of Liberty?
Because it's an amazing historic site that the whole world knows, and it's a symbol of our freedom.
That's
and all
wild. Yeah, maybe just because it's so crowded with tourists, I'm like, yeah, I want to stay away.
We
but
did school trips to Ellis Island.
I never did.
I never did either.
And my parents took us to.
We went to the most boring places. That sounds fun.
Yeah, I never went to. I went to like the Met. I think that was the coolest spot we went to. But it says if you want to get tickets to go, you can go to the statueofliberty.org. Last year, the pedestal of the monument was reopened for tourists, but now officially you can go back in her crown. And the thing is, I thought the crown was closed like decades ago for some reason.
Oh, it closed during the pandemic?
I guess the pandemic was the trigger for it.
Oh, you're talking about the torch.
No, the crown.
Oh,
no,
yeah, you're right.
The torch is closed.
You're right. That's what I'm thinking. The torch.
Right, but there's people that remember going to visit the torch.
Yeah.
How do you even get up it?
Mandela effect.
Oh, so was it ever a thing or not?
Apparently it's been closed for like.
Yeah, I thought it
that's
closed in
been
like the
closed for
60s,
decades.
right? Something like that.
But people are saying that they remember vividly like going to visit.
Oh, if you're old enough.
I'm looking it up right now to see. Because, I mean, it looks...
Are you just looking up when did the torch close?
No, I'm just looking up Statue of Liberty torch inside.
Can you search that? Can you search when did it close, Josh?
Yeah, when did...
The torch.
Statue of Liberty torch close? I didn't know there was a Mandela effect. 1916.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so
I wonder
no
why.
one's alive.
Right, but people are saying that they remember the route. Like they can even tell you the route that it takes to get
What
up to
goes
it.
the night? Well, unless they went when it was like they went behind the scenes and they snuck up there, maybe.
It's been locked up.
Didn't Kevin McAllister go in the Crown?
No.
I thought he's like waving inside of it.
No,
That's the Twin Tower.
Yeah, that's from the Twin Towers. Yeah.
Okay.
But that you can go in the Crown now though, so that's just opened.
Yeah, just the crown, not the torch. But here's an interesting point on this topic. You know, technically, the Statue of Liberty is in New Jersey waters, and it belongs to the state of New Jersey. And there was a lawsuit over this many years ago. Do you guys know that?
No.
The Statue of Liberty is ours.
So wait, like what? New York wants to claim it?
I mean, now I think technically it's considered New York.
Why? See, New York is always taking the cool things, bro.
But yeah, exactly, because it's a tourism thing. So it technically is on, now it's federal property, but it's within the waters of New Jersey. So there's a pact between New Jersey and New York. I don't want to get into all the details, but just for your knowledge, we own the Statue of Liberty.
We do. It's in our property.
Yeah,
Like we got Newark Airport. Let's get the Statue of Liberty back, please.
absolutely. All right, well, let's keep moving with these stories. That was a shorter one, but if you want to go visit, you can go over to statueofliberty.org and buy your tickets today. Make sure you do that. You can't just show up. You got to schedule your time.
Not an ad.
So, not an ad, yeah. Moving on, New Jersey Transit is looking to spend over $8 million to replace dirty train car windows.
Great. We're spending all our money on the things that matter, dirty windows, instead of like actually fixing the trains that they don't break down anymore.
Yeah,
There's so many reasons why they could be doing this. Think of like back in the day, like mobs.
Yeah, we'll replace your windows.
But you're taking away
Yeah.
why can't we just clean them?
Well, they say so.
Yeah, let's just wipe them down.
Listen, you're right.
I've seen people on there licking them, so there can't be that bad.
Oh my
listen, it
gosh, not
says-
surprised.
So Smith is the Jim Smith. He's a spokesman for New Jersey Transit. It says Smith said the issue is not one of the window's cleanliness, but rather the characteristics of the window material that causes it to become cloudy over time. Exposure to the elements such as acid rain, heat, and UV rays cause the cloudiness and dirty look over the course of time.
Maybe we should try to replace our air with not acid rain.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, and
You
maybe
have a solution?
Maybe when we design windows, we should assume they're going to get hit by UV light and rain. I don't know, just something to think about. But they're saying you can't clean the windows. That's the whole point. They got to. It's going to be $8 million in windows plus labor, which is. I don't want to know what that's.
And those same trains are just going to break down time and time again, causing delays, not fixing any issues that New Jersey Transit has.
I don't believe it.
Okay.
I think they can clean it. I've seen Nintendo 64s that have, the translucent ones, the transparent ones.
Yeah.
I've seen them get restored pretty good to brand new.
Absolutely. I think they could take some. They'll start with a thick grit sandpaper. Here's my solution. Sand it a little bit, then move up to a finer grit. And eventually, that's what I did with my headlights when they got foggy.
Get the contract.
Listen, I'm about to talk to the Murph. Here's the thing, though. Their explanation for why they need to do this is actually very comical. It says Sally Jane Gellert, the chairwoman of the Lackawanna Coalition, brought up the subject of the windows at the NJ Transit Board of Directors meeting and said clean windows are a must for those who need to be able to locate a station when the audio announcements fail. So she's saying we need the windows to be clean because our trains, the speakers are going to fail.
Yep.
So when the speakers fail, they need to be able to look out the window and go, wait a second, what bridge did we just pass? Where am I?
But
What
like,
street is that?
dude, I've been on the night trains and like
It does happen.
Yeah, bro. Like sometimes I can't even see because it's so foggy and it's so annoying.
Yeah, so she says when one of these systems fails, riders need visual cues such as local buildings and platform signs. For that, one truly needs transparent windows.
Dude, the whole New Jersey transit system is a mess. Everything is broken.
How much is it going to cost?
Well, the
$8
materials are
million.
$8 million plus labor. So we're looking at like
Minus kickbacks.
so really the windows, yeah. So what's going to happen is some of the politicians will get about probably $6 million of that, and then they'll get $2 million worth of glass.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm a cynic, man. This state
Read
is
the first sentence, Josh. That's pretty comical too.
the first sentence of the article says you will soon be able to look out the window on over 400 New Jersey Transit passenger
Because right
cars.
now you can't. Because New Jersey Transit is the worst.
New Jersey Transit is the absolute worst.
We never have good things to say about New Jersey Transit. It's so bad.
I hate complaining about our state, man. I hate being the guy complaining.
We complain because we love it and we're passionate about it.
It's an experience.
Yeah, and I mean, like, there is some good stuff. We got great food, you know. That's not
Cool.
We do have the best food.
We have everything.
if you had to do a battle of states for food, I think it'd come down to Jersey versus California versus Texas.
Because all of us have like every single type of food there is.
I think California, you got the coastal cuisine, you got the amazing Mexican food. Texas, you're getting some good Tex-Mex, but you're also getting the brisket and the barbecue, that southern barbecue. Jersey, you're getting everything. You're getting great Portuguese barbecue.
But there's
you're
something in the
Italian.
I mean, yeah. The thing
bagels are
about
good.
our food, right? Our bread is different.
It's the water, bro. It's the water.
Guys, idea. Direct-to-consumer Shopify store where we ship out New Jersey dough.
There's a pizzeria in Florida that ships their water down from Jersey.
Yeah,
Okay.
just
so
so the
they can have
pizza's
Jersey
good.
pizza.
I've heard
That's
about that, but
amazing.
what I'm saying is, what if we created a store? I should stop be saying this. This is a great
No,
idea.
but-
Okay, I don't know.
I'll put a little bit of that in. Like
Okay.
I'll cut around it so people like it'll be choppy.
Okay.
So sorry, like if you're listening now, like Josh just spit out like such an incredible idea.
Yeah, it's a great
But like
business.
you can't be doing that on the podcast.
Yeah, I should
Stop screwing up.
All right, well, let's move on to our next story. In Colonia, New Jersey, new news is breaking surrounding the possible cancer cluster at the high school.
I thought we were done with this story, man. It's back.
Yeah, for those that don't know, months back, people began becoming suspicious of Colonia High School as a lot of people have brain tumors that have gone to the high school. And what happened was I believe it was over spring break, they put radon canisters, which measure for radioactive material, in the school for the 2 weeks, and they got nothing. There was no material. But now there's been a plot twist as a mother who is an environmental scientist did her own testing of dust, window caulk, soil samples, and other things, and it came back with toxic chemicals present.
Wow, it took a mom who's a scientist to prove everyone else wrong.
Her name is Etta Komorik. She presented her findings verified by independent laboratories to school officials this week.
That's so cool, dude. That's so sick.
Yeah.
Good for her.
That triggered a letter to parents from the district Monday night acknowledging Komorik's report, but insisting it is safe to attend Colonia High School.
I was about to say, like, that letter is going to just cause more panic.
No, this doesn't mean anything. You know where it says on every package that you ever open, this chemical is known. It contains chemicals known to the state of California to cause cancer and birth defects. That's probably all she found.
Maybe, yeah, you might be right. Like, it might be nothing because I don't think you could do a dust sample to find radiation. But maybe I don't think the issue here is radiation.
They said it found radiation or
No,
it found
yeah, it
cancer
found-
causing chemicals.
It found
If it found radiation, they wouldn't
Toxic
be there right
chemicals.
now.
Everything is toxic if you take in too much of it.
yeah, no, that's a,
Who's eating? Might need to clip that out.
Mark smart that.
mark that. That's hilarious.
I kind of want to keep it if I get it. Eric,
Well,
Eric just said something that he didn't mean to say it the way he did, and we had to cut it.
yeah, well,
But yeah, who's eating all that garbage? Yeah, like no one is.
it's a crazy situation, and I think this puts some fear in people. And you know what it reminds me of? It's very reminiscent of the movie Jaws. You guys ever watch Jaws?
Yes.
Eric, you ever see Jaws?
Yes, in your backyard.
That's right.
Yeah, we did watch it in your
projector in my
backyard.
backyard. The mayor didn't want to close down the beaches, even though he knew shark attacks were happening, because it was 4th of July weekend, baby. It's
money.
And
It's
guess
bad
what?
press.
It's about the money. And I think we might have a little Jaws situation, Colonia, going on right now, where they don't want to shut this school down because they know we're gonna have to knock it down and build a new one if there's some toxic chemicals. But I get what you're saying, Eric.
Yeah, let's just put all the kids' lives at risk.
Well, not only that, the liability that would come from it if they admitted that they knew that there was something, as far as radiation or anything, and they just allowed people to do it. So they have to at least plead ignorance for now until then. It's like, oh, we didn't know.
Well, people have died already from these tumors. There's people that are currently suffering with massive medical bills from these tumors. So you're spot on. Like the town would have some liability in that, I would assume.
So
or
maybe
the
they
state.
just want to cover it up.
So Eric, I don't know if you heard. For the listeners as well, we interviewed a man that spearheaded this entire thing. He was the first person to bring this up, Al Lupiano, and he gave a connection. He believes that soil that the school was built on was soil that was part of the Manhattan Project, because the Manhattan Project took place within 10 miles of this high school, and they began distributing the soil, not realizing what was infected with the radiation and what wasn't. So pretty interesting, but no major update here because again, this is some hype, it's some news, but there's no clarity on what's actually going to happen. I'm sure people are still going to school, and we're going to have to wait to see what happens.
Yeah, and I think you read it. Like even the mom said it's safe to attend, right?
I don't think she actually said that.
Whose report is that?
It says triggered a letter to parents from the district. So the district is the one saying it's.
Wow.
They acknowledged the report, but they said it's safe to.
I wonder
go
if
to the
that
high school.
mom is sending her daughter or her kid to school still after her findings.
Is it
That's
just
what I
like
wanna know.
is it just like lead paint? I think you need more about what these toxic
That's
chemicals are.
Very
Probably.
fair.
Yeah.
It could be lead paint. It could be like asbestos something, or I don't know. So, all right, with that, that's our last story of the night, guys. Any closing thoughts here for the viewers, the listeners?
New Jersey, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. The news never sleeps.
Yeah, and the news never sleeps. It's always moving. And hey, an apartment building might be coming to a town near you.
I hope not. I just want them all to just be built up right now and just stop. Let's build some golf courses, man. Like all over the state. Like there's so much property. Like why are we putting apartments when we could build golf courses?
Well, in closing, what are your guys' favorite golf courses in the state for the listeners?
I just played Skyview the other day.
Where's
and
that?
It's one of the most beautiful ones. It's up in Sparta.
Ooh. Oh yeah, Sparta. Dude.
but
Like,
also-
mountainous. It's beautiful.
Bowling Greens is beautiful, and they have a great beer garden and great brisket.
Nice.
Like a whole area that you can hang out and have live music. But we have good ones around here in Central Jersey.
What's your favorite in
Those are a
Central
little bit
Jersey?
more north or west.
Well, north is just prettier in general.
It's
Because you have
wide
more
open.
land, wide open. It's more mountainous. What would you say is your favorite Central Jersey one?
I mean, Hyatt is my home course right now, but
Hyatt
like
Hills.
Fox Hollow is great.
Fox Hollow is just so expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's
it's great.
pretty. It's nice. What town is that in? Josh, Google that, Fox Hollow. I always forget.
That's-
I feel like it's far from here, though.
Is it Branchburg? Not Branchburg.
Branchburg.
Yeah, Branchburg. Cool.
So, well,
Nishannock Station is Nishannock Golf Course is gorgeous also.
I went to go play golf this morning. Showed up to the course at 6:45 in the morning. Frost delay. We're in frost delay season. So like, oh yeah, the course is gonna open at 9 a.m. So I was just like, yeah, refund. I'm out. And yeah,
Were they
we're in that
planning on
season.
just pushing everybody for 2 hours?
Yeah. They're going to push everyone. It was just going to be a mess because, we've dealt with that before. It's not fun, but it's the fall golf in Jersey. You're going to deal with that in the morning.
How do your listeners feel about golf course reviews?
Eric wants to do Garden State Golf with us. What do you think, Josh?
I'm for it.
If we made some like videos, like just going through golf courses and rating them, right?
Maybe. I think we'd have to get a gauge of like what people would actually want to hear or see on a course.
I feel like that would be a whole nother market of Jersey right there. Just a golf community.
Let's make it.
Eric hit me up about it. I'm just trying to hang out with Eric. It's hard to book
I'm
this
just
guy.
trying to golf.
That's true. Eric's just trying to golf. But, all of us are trying to make money out here and work real jobs.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard life. Well, with that, that's the end of the podcast. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you next Friday. Have a good week.
Bye. Eric, you have to sign out.
You just heard the Garden State.
That was beautiful.
Love it. Bye.
Bye.
You're watching the Garden State. The Dirty Jers.